Hi, Mona.
I remembered you answered the question when someone asked if we see an unjust situation, you should change it, and it can even come to a point where you change it by force. And I'm wondering, from the perspective of a finite mind, something can look as if it is unjust when it isn't, and vice versa. And vice versa, something could look as if it's good, or a situation can look as if it's good, and it's not. So what gives the right to one person to think that he has the ability or the knowledge to change the situation or interfere?
What you're implying, if I understand you correctly, is that truth is relative.
Yes. From the
and for one person's truth is as good as another. One person may believe that if you don't believe in Allah, it's legitimate to kill you. And if that's their truth, that's their truth. And it's in line with the non-dual understanding for them to behave in accordance with their truth. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
What you're saying. In other words, we could reformulate your question, is there an absolute truth?
Probably, yes.
That's the essence of your question? Or is just all truth relative to the finite mind in which it appears?
Yeah.
In which case anything goes.
Yeah.
If there were an absolute truth, what would be the criteria by which we would recognize it? It would have to be a truth that was always present and never changed. And in other words, it would have to be a truth that was the same for all people at all times and under all circumstances. In other words, a truth that was not dependent upon our nationality, our gender, our political opinions, our religious opinions, our sexual preferences. If there were an absolute truth, it would have to be ever present. It could not be something that disappeared and reappeared, because if it were to disappear, what it disappeared into would be more real and therefore more absolutely true than it would be. So it would have to be present at all times. And it could not change. If the absolute truth was one truth one day and then changed the next day, it would not be absolute, it would be relative to the passing of time. And then there is one more criteria that the absolute truth would have to satisfy. It would have to be known by itself. Because if it were known by something other than itself, it would be relative to that other thing. And if that other thing changed, then the truth which it knew would change in correspondence with it. So an absolute truth must be ever present, unchanging, and known by itself. Now, from your own experience, not from, don't work it out rationally, but from your own experience, is there anything that satisfies these three requirements? Ever present, under all circumstances, at all times, and in all situations. It never changes, and it is known by itself. Do you have any experience that satisfies these three requirements?
Not a particular situation, but consciousness itself.
Not if you... What was your first? Not if you think...
Not a particular experience, situation.
Exactly, because all particular situations come and go and change, okay?
Yeah.
But then your next statement, you said consciousness itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is consciousness itself ever present?
Yes.
Is it the same whether you are depressed, whether you are lonely, whether you are tired, whether you are sick, whether you are healthy? Is consciousness always the same?
Yes.
And is consciousness known by itself?
Yeah.
And if consciousness were to... What is the first statement that consciousness would make about itself if it could speak?
I am.
Perfect. So the knowledge I am in each of us, that is in each finite mind, is consciousness's knowledge of itself. In religious language, God's knowledge of himself. Now, let's just test this a little bit further. Is the experience I am the same for all people? Let's push the limits. Let's put Donald Trump here. And let's put Kim Jong-un here. And let's place Ramana Maharshi here. Yeah? We're just going to the extremes of experience. So let's ask each of these three people about the content of their thoughts. I won't elaborate. We can all imagine the thoughts that Donald Trump has, the thoughts that Kim Jong-un has, and the thoughts that Ramana Maharshi has. Yeah? They're all different. Now let's ask them about their feelings. They're all different. Let's ask them about their perceptions. They're all different. Let's ask them about their activities. They're all different. Let's ask them about their relationships. They're all different. But now if we were to ask each of them, turn away from your thoughts, your feelings, your activities and your relationships, and just go to the experience to which each of you refers when you say simply, I am. Before you say, I am depressed, I am angry, I am whatever. Just each of you go to the experience, I am. And using words as best you can, tell us about that experience. What would be the difference in their descriptions?
No difference?
No difference. Exactly. In fact, the knowledge I am is the only knowledge there is that is the same for all people, under all circumstances, at all times, and in all situations. And it is the only experience that is known by itself. Because the I that I am is not known by something other than itself. It is I that know that I am. So the knowledge I am is absolute knowledge. It is absolutely true. If we had had a fourth character, a caveman from 10,000 years ago, his objective experience would have differed from the other three. But if we had asked him or her, tell us about the experience to which you refer when you say I am. Or imagine that your dog or your cat were able to understand this conversation. And we were to ask our dogs or our cats about their perceptions, about their sensations. They would be very different from us. But a dog or a cat has the feeling of being, which, if we have language, we express by the words I am. So if we asked our dogs and our cats and the fishes and the fleas and the mosquitoes about their experience of themselves, their description of what they refer to when they say I am would be the same as the description that each of us would be have the same meaning that each of us attribute to the words I am. So I am is the only knowledge there is, consciousness' knowledge of itself, that is absolute. No other knowledge or experience is absolute. And it is for this reason that the knowledge of I am must be the foundation of peace, not only in ourselves, not only in our intimate relationships and friendships, not only in our families and communities, but must be the foundation upon which world peace, if there could ever be such a thing, would be founded. Because it is the only knowledge about which everyone must agree. Therefore, it must be the source of peace and harmony within individuals, between individuals, and between communities and nations.